So look at Anthony Ryder from South Lyon, Michigan, recently selected as the Lions 2020 Fan of the Year. He has a passion about sports broadcasting.
With the 112th selection in the 2021 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Amon-Ra St. Brown, wide receiver, USC. One pride, baby! Yeah!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another Detroit Lions video. Now, a few days ago, we touched on the idea that the Detroit Lions may be closer to contending for the playoffs than they are at contending for another top 5 pick. We talked about the idea that the Lions are farther along in their rebuild than a lot of people are giving them credit for, and a large reason for that has been the phenomenal coaching staff that Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have built up in Detroit and provided to this young football team. And today we're going to touch on this because the Lions quietly have kind of built one of the more stacked coaching rosters in the NFL, and they have quietly been building one of the better coaching staffs around the entirety of the NFL. So today we are going to touch on it, we are going to talk about it, and we are going to go over this coaching staff and give credit to some of the guys that are helping these young players develop into future NFL stars. So with all that being said and all that out of the way, let's get straight on into taking a look at the Lions coaching staff and why they're a lot better than a lot of people might think. Starting on the offensive side of the ball, the Detroit Lions, and one of the first big hires that Dan Campbell made was to bring in Deuce Staley, the running backs coach from the Philadelphia Eagles. Deuce Staley did a really nice job with the running backs this season as both the running backs coach and the assistant head coach. He had DeAndre Swift seeing career-type production, and Jamal Williams both had over 600 yards and both had either 151 or 153 carries respectively. DeAndre Swift had 151 carries for just over 600 yards, and Jamal Williams had 153 carries for just over 600 yards. They were a very good dynamic duo, coached, of course, by primarily Deuce Staley. But even on top of the starters, Craig Reynolds had over 100 yards and had over 100 yards in 2 separate games and had almost 300 yards in just 2 career starts. Jermar Jefferson averaged nearly 5.5 yards per carry as a rookie and as a 7th round rookie, and even though we talk a lot of bad about Godwin Igwebuike as a running back, he averaged nearly 6.6 yards per carry as a running back in the 2022 NFL or in the 2021 NFL season, and he was a converted safety. Deuce Staley saw this guy and he said, that guy can be a running back, that guy can be a kick and punt returner, and that guy in Godwin Igwebuike went from being a safety that likely wouldn't have made the roster to a running back that is a primary kick and punt returner and a running back that averaged over 6.5 yards per carry in his first ever year as a running back at the highest level of competition. On top of that, the Lions offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson, although he hasn't really been the offensive coordinator per se from a job description, he has been doing a lot of really good things for the Lions. He was the pass game coordinator a season ago and really started to take over play calling and play scheming duties around week 9 to 10, right after the bye week for the Lions a season ago. And you saw Jared Goff go from, I think it was 6 touchdowns to 7 interceptions to start the year and finish with 9 touchdowns to just 2 interceptions after Dan Campbell and Ben Johnson started calling those plays instead of Anthony Lynn. I'm really excited to see what he can do. He's young, he's got a good mind. I think that he's going to maximize the value and maximize the talent that the Lions have at receiver, running back, offensive line, and tight end. And I really think he's going to help Jared Goff look like one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL and help Jared Goff look more like his 2018 self, more so than his 2021 self. And one of the big reasons I have a lot of confidence in this offensive coordinator, even though he is unproven, is because the Bengals, the team that went to the Super Bowl a season ago, said that they tried to hire Ben Johnson numerous times throughout the recruiting process and throughout the hiring process, and Dan Campbell just decided to keep on to him, keep promoting him, keep giving him more roles, keep giving him more money because he was that sought after by a Super Bowl caliber team. And that's why I have a lot of confidence in Ben Johnson. Based off the small sample size from last last year, and the fact that so many teams, especially good teams like the Bengals, wanted him to be their offensive coordinator a season ago. Hank Fairley, we've talked about Hank Fairley a lot on this channel. He is the offensive line coach, and he may, and this is without being biased, I try to do these videos as best I can without being biased. He very well could be the best offensive line coach in the entirety of the NFL. He developed Taylor Decker into a potential Pro Bowl tackle, developed Jonah Jackson out of the 3rd round into a Pro Bowl guard, turned Frank Ragnow into a Pro Bowl All-Pro type center, turned a Big V from one of the worst free agent signings in a very long time to a serviceable right guard who at the end of the year gave up 0 sacks a season ago, and took Penei Sewell and elevated his game even farther, putting him as one of the highest graded tackle by Pro Football Focus week after week after week. He took undrafted free agents Evan Brown and Tommy Kramer and turned them into semi-reliable starters that if a starter does go down, those guys can slide in and you are not going to have that big of a drop-off in the level of play. I think, and I truly believe, that Hank Fairley is the best offensive line coach in the NFL, because I think over the past 3 to 4 seasons, there is not a person in the NFL, there is not a positional coach in the NFL with a better resume than what Hank Fairley has done with the Detroit Lions offensive line. And on top of that, offensively, the Lions have Antoine Randall L., who was a new positional coach, but was a former wide receiver in the NFL. And he is somebody that, yeah, the Lions wide receivers weren't great a season ago, but when you look at the talent he had to work with and the result that was on the field, he did pretty good. He turned Amon-Ra St. Brown from a 4th-round rookie wide receiver into a top 5 rookie wide receiver from last year's class. He turned Quintez Cephas from a former 5th-round pick and had him on pace for a career year with over 800 yards and 7 touchdowns. And he took the career backup in Khalif Raymond and turned him into a pretty decent wide receiver who put up more than 3 times the amount of yards and touchdowns that he had received in previous seasons. Before coming to Detroit, Khalif Raymond never topped 200 yards. I don't even believe topped 150 on a season. Last year, Khalif Raymond nearly topped 500 yards and 4 touchdowns for the Lions in his first season. So although the talent wasn't a ton to work with, Antoine Randall L. did a very good job with the talent he was given, and that's why I'm really excited to see what he can do with DJ Chark and Jameson Williams this offseason to see what they can bring to the Detroit Lions. The Lions have a lot of really good coaches, including some of the best secondary coaching in the NFL. Aaron Glenn is going into his 2nd year as an offensive coordinator, and he's already gotten 3 offers or 3 interviews to be a head coach at the NFL level. That's the kind of coach we're talking about, somebody that has interest in being a head coach and leading a team by himself, and that guy is our defensive coordinator. He took a team last year that after injury by about week 6 to 7 that was primarily made up of backups and Amani Oruwariye and Tracy Walker. He took that team filled with undrafted free agents, rookie players, and career backups and put them in a situation where they held 7 different teams, including the Atlanta Falcons with Kyle Pitts and Matt Ryan, including the Arizona Cardinals with Kyler Murray and the touchdown leader in the league, James Conner, and a couple of other teams to under 20 points in a football game. He held Justin Jefferson under 20 points in a football game. You know, some really, really good offenses with very minimal talent to really good score lines. If the offense was a little bit better, which they should be this year under Ben Johnson as the new offensive play caller, they would have won a lot more games simply because Aaron Glenn is that good of a defensive coordinator. Aubrey Pleasant pairs with him really well to give the Lions a lot of hope and a lot of development in their young secondary. They have 5 players on a rookie contract this year in their cornerback room alone, not even to mention Will Harris and Kirby Joseph on the safety room. They have 7 secondary players on rookie contracts next season without even including the undrafted free agents from this year, and all of them have played really well. Tracy Walker, Will Harris, and Amani Oruwariye all saw career highs in picks and passes defended and just in the level of play last season under these 2 coaches, and a large part of that was Aubrey Pleasant's development, his positional coaching style. You know, he saw Jerry Jacobs and AJ Parker and Ifeatu Melifonwu step into starting roles sooner than they were ever expected to, and they played like solid starting cornerbacks. If the Lions took the field next year at some point with Jerry Jacobs and Ifeatu on the boundary and AJ Parker in the slot, that is still 3 quality starting kind of corners in the NFL. And they proved that a season ago. They might not be top end starters, they may not be elite starters, but they are certainly capable of starting against some really good wide receivers in the NFL and at least holding their own for a couple of games at a time. And then you get on to the defensive line. Coach Todd Wash helped save Charles Harris's career a season ago. A player that was a former first-round pick, was looked at as a bust in his career, came back and had 7.5 sacks in 1 year under Todd Wash. Julian Okwara had career high in sacks, pressures, and hits a season ago in his second season, and Austin Bryant, also in his third season as an NFL player, saw career highs in all of those statistics as well in 1 year under Todd Wash. Romeo Okwara only played in a couple games, but he was seeing a career high in pressures, averaging over 4 pressures a game with the Detroit Lions before his season-ending injury. And now he is Romeo Okwara coming back. Now he has Julian Okwara and Charles Harris coming back, but he also has the number 2 overall pick in Aiden Hutchinson to help develop as well. And then I want to talk about Kelvin Sheppard a little bit as well, because he was promoted from the outside linebackers coach to the actual all-around linebackers coach this season. And although we don't have a ton of great things to say, right? He hasn't really developed anybody that great yet. He had a lot of people raving about him at the Senior Bowl. He had a lot of the players at the Senior Bowl were talking about how much they liked playing for this guy and how good and relatable of a coach he is to the players. And I think that he will take a big step next year as well, because all I've heard out of Dan Campbell and the rest of these guys has been really, really good things about Kelvin Sheppard. And when they were asked about their favorite coach, when they were asked about the best coach at the Senior Bowl, a lot of the players answered Kelvin Sheppard, which I think is something to keep an eye on as well. But with all that being said, that is kind of the Lions coaching staff, right? Dave Phibb had the Lions finishing as a top 10 special teams a season ago as well. So the coordinator from that standpoint is also one of the better coordinators in the NFL. Now, I'm not saying the Lions are the best coaching staff in the NFL. I don't want anybody taking this out of context. I don't want anybody putting words in my mouth and saying, oh, you said the coaching staff was the best in the NFL. You said that they were the best coaching staff around and they were the best chance the Lions had, or whatever the case may be. They are not the best coaching staff in the NFL. There are better, more proven coaching staffs in our own division, in our own conference. But they are very good. They are a very sneaky and underrated coaching staff, and I believe the Lions have some really good positional coaches and some very, very good coordinators, right? I wouldn't be surprised if at the end of this season, both Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson both left for head coaching jobs. I wouldn't even be surprised if Deuce Staley left for a head coaching job. Hank Fairley is legitimately the best lineman coach in the NFL, and I think you can make the argument that Aubrey Pleasant and Aaron Glenn are maybe the best 2 secondary coaches as a duo in the NFL as well. They have some great coaches, some great positional guys, and they are a huge part as to why a lot of the Lions' young rookies and even young players saw career years or thrived in their rookie season in the NFL. So with all that being said, that is all for you guys today. Let me know what you guys think about the coaching staff. Is there any coach that I missed on? Is there any coach that I didn't mention that is doing a very good job in his own right? I'd be very curious what you guys think, but with all of that being said, that is all for you guys today. Thank you all so very much for watching, and until next time, and as always, go Lions.